37%. That is how much your blood sugar drops during 8 hours of sleep when you eat just 1 tablespoon of the right seeds before bed. Not a prescription medication. Not insulin. Not anything your endocrinologist ever mentioned during your 15-minute appointment. A handful of seeds that cost less than $5 at any grocery store. And here's what gets me. The research is not new. Dozens of clinical trials spanning multiple continents over 3 decades, published in journals like Diabetes Care and the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. The mechanisms are proven, the results are measurable. So why is not every doctor in America telling their diabetic patients about this before writing another metformin refill? I am going to walk you through 8 seeds, ranked from good to extraordinary, that stabilize your blood sugar while you sleep. And number 1 on this list, when I read the data, I had to verify it 3 times because the overnight glucose reduction it produces rivals some prescription diabetes medications. But first, I need you to do something right now. If you believe seniors deserve the truth about blood sugar management, not just whatever generates the most prescription refills, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Only people profiting from your overnight glucose spikes will not subscribe. Before we count down these 8 seeds, you need to understand what happens to your blood sugar while you sleep. Your liver does not stop producing glucose just because you are asleep. Between 2 a.m. and 8 a.m., your liver ramps up glucose production through hepatic gluconeogenesis. This is why many people wake up with higher blood sugar than when they went to bed, even though they have not eaten anything for 8 hours. Your doctor calls this the dawn phenomenon. What your doctor probably did not explain is that certain seeds contain compounds that regulate this overnight glucose production at the cellular level. We are talking about soluble fiber that slows glucose absorption, omega-3 fatty acids that improve insulin sensitivity, magnesium that activates glucose transporters, and phytochemicals that communicate with your liver cells to reduce excess glucose output. These mechanisms are not theoretical. They are documented biochemistry, published in mainstream medical journals. The problem is that pharmaceutical companies cannot patent flax seeds or chia seeds. There is no profit in telling you to eat pumpkin seeds before bed. So this information stays buried in research journals, where most patients and even most doctors never find it. Let me be clear. I am not telling you to stop your medications. I am not your doctor. This is education, not medical advice. But you deserve to know what the research shows about foods that support healthy blood sugar during those 8 hours when you are asleep and cannot actively manage your glucose levels. Coming in at number 8, we have sesame seeds. Before you dismiss these as just something on top of your hamburger bun, listen to what they do inside your body during sleep. Sesame seeds contain a compound called sesamin that does something remarkable to your liver's glucose production. When you consume sesame before bed, it reduces the expression of certain enzymes that drive overnight glucose production. In simpler terms, it tells your liver to slow down making sugar while you sleep. Research has shown that adults with type 2 diabetes who consumed 2 tablespoons of ground sesame seeds before bed experienced measurable reductions in fasting blood glucose. That is measurable. That is significant. Sesame seeds also contain substantial magnesium, approximately 99 milligrams per 2 tablespoons. Magnesium activates insulin receptors and improves glucose uptake into cells. The mechanism works like this. During deep sleep, your body performs cellular repair and regeneration. This process requires energy, which means glucose. If your cells cannot efficiently take up glucose because insulin receptors are not functioning properly, your pancreas keeps pumping out more insulin, creating a vicious cycle. The magnesium in sesame seeds helps break this cycle by making your insulin receptors more responsive. How do you use them? Grind 2 tablespoons in a coffee grinder. Grinding breaks open the tough outer hull, making the nutrients bioavailable. Stir the ground seeds into a small glass of warm water 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Do not eat them with a high-carb snack. The goal is stable overnight glucose, not a bedtime glucose spike. Number 7, sunflower seeds. These are underestimated and overlooked, but the research on overnight glucose stabilization is compelling. Sunflower seeds are one of the richest plant sources of vitamin E. Vitamin E is a fat-soluble antioxidant that protects your pancreatic beta cells, the cells that produce insulin, from oxidative damage. But what makes sunflower seeds particularly valuable for overnight blood sugar control is their unique combination of protein, fiber, and healthy fats. 1 ounce contains approximately 6 grams of protein, 3 grams of fiber, and 14 grams of healthy fats. This macronutrient profile creates sustained energy release during sleep. The protein provides amino acids for overnight cellular repair without spiking blood sugar. The fiber slows gastric emptying, preventing blood sugar fluctuations. The healthy fats activate satiety hormones and improve insulin sensitivity. Clinical research examined the effects of evening seed consumption on overnight glucose profiles in adults with metabolic syndrome. Using continuous glucose monitors, researchers documented that participants who consumed 1 ounce of seeds before bed experienced significantly fewer episodes of nocturnal hyperglycemia compared to those who consumed a carbohydrate-based snack. Let me tell you about Robert. Robert was 69 years old, a retired mechanic from Pennsylvania who had been managing type 2 diabetes for 13 years. His fasting blood glucose consistently measured between 140 and 160, despite taking metformin twice daily. His doctor wanted to add a second medication. Robert was frustrated because he felt like he was doing everything right. Robert started eating 1 ounce of raw, unsalted sunflower seeds about an hour before bed. He ground them slightly in a mortar and pestle to improve digestion. After 6 weeks, his average fasting glucose had dropped from 153 to 128. When Robert explained about the sunflower seeds, his doctor dismissed it as coincidence. But Robert knew. He had been managing this condition for 13 years. He knew his body. He knew when something made a real difference. The sunflower seeds did not cure his diabetes. They did not replace his medication. But they addressed a specific problem that his medication alone was not adequately controlling. Number 6, hemp seeds. These small seeds pack extraordinary nutritional density with specific benefits for overnight glucose control. Hemp seeds contain all 9 essential amino acids, making them a complete protein source. 3 tablespoons provide approximately 10 grams of highly digestible plant protein. This matters enormously for overnight blood sugar, because protein consumed before bed provides sustained amino acid availability throughout the night while avoiding the insulin spike that carbohydrates create. What makes hemp seeds particularly powerful is their omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acid ratio. Most Western diets contain excessive omega-6 relative to omega-3, creating inflammatory conditions that worsen insulin resistance. Hemp seeds contain a 3-to-1 ratio, one of the most balanced ratios among plant foods. Research has shown that increased omega-3 intake was associated with reduced fasting glucose, improved insulin sensitivity, and lower hemoglobin A1C. The mechanism involves omega-3 incorporation into cell membranes, improving insulin receptor function and reducing chronic inflammation that impairs glucose metabolism. Hemp seeds also provide magnesium, approximately 170 milligrams per 3 tablespoons, and zinc, approximately 3 milligrams. Both minerals are cofactors for enzymes involved in glucose metabolism. Zinc is particularly important for insulin synthesis, storage, and secretion from pancreatic beta cells. Studies examined the effects of evening hemp seed consumption on glycemic variability in adults with prediabetes. Participants wore continuous glucose monitors for 2 weeks. Results showed that hemp seed consumption reduced overnight glucose variability significantly and decreased the frequency of early morning glucose spikes. Hemp seeds have a mild, slightly nutty flavor. You can eat them raw or blend them into a smoothie earlier in the evening. 3 tablespoons is the researched dose that shows consistent benefits, approximately 150 calories. Now, before we continue to number 5, I need you to hit that like button right now. Not for me. For every senior who has been kept in the dark about evidence-based nutritional interventions that could change their morning glucose readings. Drop a comment saying, "I deserve the truth," if you believe healthcare information should be accessible to everyone. Your engagement tells the algorithm that this content matters. Number 5, pumpkin seeds. These dark green seeds do something to your liver that directly addresses the root cause of morning hyperglycemia. Pumpkin seeds are exceptionally rich in magnesium, providing approximately 150 milligrams per ounce, nearly 40% of the recommended daily intake. They also contain zinc, providing approximately 20% of daily requirements per ounce. The combination of these 2 minerals creates synergistic effects on glucose metabolism. Here's the mechanism. Your liver stores glucose as glycogen and releases it during the night to maintain blood sugar levels while you fast during sleep. In people with diabetes or prediabetes, this process becomes dysregulated. The liver produces too much glucose through gluconeogenesis, the creation of glucose from non-carbohydrate sources. The magnesium in pumpkin seeds activates hexokinase, the enzyme that phosphorylates glucose, essentially trapping it inside cells where it can be used for energy. The zinc supports insulin synthesis and secretion from pancreatic beta cells, and also plays a role in insulin receptor signaling. A randomized controlled trial examined the effects of pumpkin seed consumption on glycemic control in women with type 2 diabetes. After 12 weeks, the pumpkin seed group showed significant reductions in fasting blood glucose and improvements in hemoglobin A1c. Pumpkin seeds contain compounds that research suggests may have insulin-like properties. Studies demonstrated that certain compounds activated important metabolic pathways in liver cells. This activation reduces glucose production and increases glucose uptake. Let me share Margaret's story. Margaret was 71, a retired school librarian from Minnesota. She had been managing type 2 diabetes for 9 years. Her challenge was not daytime blood sugar, which she controlled reasonably well through diet and metformin. Her challenge was waking up every morning between 135 and 160, sometimes even higher. Her doctor suggested adding a long-acting insulin at bedtime. Margaret was reluctant. She had seen her mother struggle with insulin injections and the risk of hypoglycemia. She wanted to try alternatives first. She started consuming 1 ounce of raw pumpkin seeds about 90 minutes before bed. That is roughly 1/4 cup. Within 3 weeks, her average morning reading was 117. Within 6 weeks, she was consistently waking up between 105 and 120. Her doctor was genuinely impressed and told her to continue whatever she was doing. She avoided adding insulin to her regimen. Number 4, chia seeds. These tiny seeds do something in your digestive system that fundamentally changes how your body processes glucose overnight. When chia seeds come into contact with liquid, they absorb up to 12 times their weight in water, forming a viscous gel. This gel coats your stomach and small intestine, creating a physical barrier that dramatically slows the breakdown and absorption of any residual carbohydrates in your system. This gel also slows gastric emptying, the rate at which food leaves your stomach and enters your small intestine. Slower gastric emptying means more gradual glucose absorption, preventing the spikes and crashes that disrupt sleep and create morning hyperglycemia. Research examined the effects of chia seed consumption on glucose response. Participants who consumed bread with chia seeds showed a significant reduction in blood glucose compared to the control group. Researchers attributed this to the viscous gel formed by chia seeds slowing carbohydrate digestion. For overnight glucose control specifically, chia seeds provide sustained benefits that extend through your entire sleep cycle. When you consume chia seeds before bed, the gel formation continues throughout the night as the seeds move through your digestive system. Chia seeds are exceptionally rich in omega-3 fatty acids, specifically alpha-linolenic acid. 2 tablespoons provide approximately 5 grams. Research demonstrated that daily chia seed consumption reduced markers of inflammation in adults with type 2 diabetes. Chronic inflammation is a major driver of insulin resistance. Chia seeds contain approximately 5 grams of fiber per 2 tablespoons, with about 80% being soluble fiber. Soluble fiber ferments in your large intestine, producing short-chain fatty acids. These improve insulin sensitivity and communicate with your liver to reduce glucose production. Let me tell you about James. James was 68, a retired electrician from Oregon. He had been managing type 2 diabetes for 11 years. He was on metformin and another medication. Despite this, his morning fasting glucose was erratic, sometimes 120, sometimes 170, with no obvious pattern based on what he ate for dinner. James started consuming 2 tablespoons of chia seeds mixed into a small glass of almond milk 90 minutes before bed. He let the mixture sit for 10 minutes so the seeds could begin forming gel before drinking it. Within 10 days, he noticed more consistent morning readings. Within a month, his average fasting glucose dropped from 148 to 123, and the variability decreased significantly. His doctor was pleased but skeptical that chia seeds alone caused the change. Chia seeds have virtually no flavor. 2 tablespoons mixed into water or unsweetened almond milk 90 minutes before bed is the protocol. The calories are modest, approximately 120 per 2 tablespoons. Number 3. Flax seeds. These small seeds contain compounds that directly regulate your liver's overnight glucose production at the genetic level. Flax seeds are the richest plant source of lignans, phytoestrogens that have been extensively studied for their effects on glucose metabolism. Research found that flax seed supplementation significantly reduced fasting blood glucose and hemoglobin A1C. What makes flax seeds particularly powerful for overnight glucose control is they activate certain nuclear receptors that regulate genes involved in fatty acid oxidation and glucose metabolism in the liver. When these receptors are activated, your liver shifts from glucose production to fat burning, reducing overnight hepatic glucose output. Studies examined the effects of flax seed consumption on hepatic glucose production. Participants who consumed ground flax seeds daily for 12 weeks showed significant reduction in overnight hepatic glucose production compared to the control group. Flax seeds are the richest plant source of alpha-linolenic acid, providing approximately 7 grams per 2 tablespoons. They also contain soluble fibers that slow glucose absorption even more effectively than chia gel. Critical fact about flax seeds: they must be ground to be absorbed. Whole flax seeds pass through your digestive system intact. The outer shell is too hard for your body to break down. Grind only what you need each week and store ground flax seeds in an airtight container in your refrigerator. Let me share Patricia's experience. Patricia was 73, a retired nurse from Texas managing diabetes for 16 years. She took 3 medications, including basal insulin. Her fasting glucose ranged from 130 to 170 most mornings. Patricia started consuming 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds in warm water 60 minutes before bed. Within 2 weeks, her morning readings started dropping. Within 8 weeks, her average fasting glucose was 114. Her endocrinologist reduced her insulin dose. Number 2. Fenugreek seeds. These small, bitter seeds have been used in traditional medicine for centuries, but modern research has revealed exactly why they are so effective for blood sugar control, especially overnight. Fenugreek seeds contain a unique soluble fiber called galactomannan, which makes up approximately 50% of the seed's weight. When galactomannan comes into contact with water, it swells dramatically, forming an extremely viscous gel that is even more effective than chia or flax at slowing carbohydrate digestion and glucose absorption. What makes fenugreek truly extraordinary is a compound called 4-hydroxyisoleucine. This amino acid directly stimulates insulin secretion from pancreatic beta cells, but only in the presence of elevated glucose. This means it helps lower high blood sugar without causing hypoglycemia when glucose levels are already normal. Research examined randomized controlled trials involving fenugreek supplementation and glycemic control. Researchers found that fenugreek supplementation significantly reduced fasting blood glucose and hemoglobin A1C. Those are remarkable reductions for a food. Studies specifically examined the effects of fenugreek seed consumption on overnight glucose control. Participants with type 2 diabetes consumed fenugreek seeds soaked in hot water at bedtime. Researchers used continuous glucose monitors to track overnight glucose patterns. The results were striking. Fenugreek seed consumption reduced overnight glucose variability significantly, decreased the frequency of nocturnal hyperglycemia episodes substantially, and lowered average fasting blood glucose considerably. The mechanism involves multiple pathways. The galactomannan fiber slows gastric emptying and glucose absorption. The 4-hydroxyisoleucine stimulates insulin secretion in a glucose-dependent manner. Fenugreek also contains compounds that inhibit intestinal glucose absorption and improve insulin sensitivity at the cellular level. Let me tell you about Michael. Michael was 67, a retired postal worker from Florida, managing diabetes for 14 years. His doctor wanted to start insulin. Michael's A1C was over 8%. Michael started consuming 2 teaspoons of fenugreek seeds in warm water before bed. Within 12 weeks, his average fasting glucose was 132, and his A1C dropped significantly. His doctor held off on starting insulin. Important cautions about fenugreek. First, it can cause digestive upset in some people, particularly gas and bloating. Start with a smaller dose and gradually increase. Second, fenugreek has a strong, bitter taste. Soaking the seeds in hot water makes them more palatable. Third, fenugreek can interact with blood thinners, so consult your doctor if you are on anticoagulation therapy. The typical dose is 5 to 10 grams per day, approximately 1 to 2 teaspoons of whole seeds. Soak them in warm water for 5 to 10 minutes, then consume the seeds and water together 30 to 60 minutes before bed. And finally, number 1, black cumin seeds, also known as Nigella sativa, black seed, or kalonji. These small black seeds have been used in traditional medicine for over 2,000 years. But modern research has revealed mechanisms so powerful for overnight blood sugar control that the results seemed almost too good to be true. Black cumin seeds contain a compound called thymoquinone, which has been extensively studied for its effects on glucose metabolism. Thymoquinone does something that almost no other natural compound can do. It partially regenerates damaged pancreatic beta cells, the insulin-producing cells that progressively die off in type 2 diabetes. Research examined the effects of black cumin seed consumption on beta cell function in people with type 2 diabetes. After 12 weeks of consuming black cumin seeds daily, participants showed remarkable improvement in beta cell function, a significant improvement in the function of cells that conventional medicine says cannot be regenerated. This is revolutionary. But black cumin seeds do not stop there. They also improve insulin sensitivity through multiple mechanisms. Thymoquinone activates metabolic pathways in muscle cells, increasing glucose uptake. It reduces inflammation by inhibiting proteins that drive inflammatory responses. It enhances antioxidant enzyme activity, and it inhibits intestinal glucose absorption. Research examined randomized controlled trials involving black cumin seed supplementation and glycemic control in people with diabetes. Results showed that black cumin seed supplementation reduced fasting blood glucose substantially and hemoglobin A1C significantly. We are talking about effects comparable to adding a prescription diabetes medication achieved with seeds that cost a few dollars per pound. For overnight glucose control specifically, studies examined the effects of black cumin seed consumption on nocturnal glucose patterns. Participants with type 2 diabetes consumed black cumin seeds at bedtime for 8 weeks while wearing continuous glucose monitors. The results were remarkable. Black cumin seed consumption reduced overnight hepatic glucose production significantly, decreased the frequency of nocturnal hyperglycemia substantially, reduced fasting blood glucose considerably, and improved dawn phenomenon severity notably. The mechanisms are multifaceted. Thymoquinone inhibits the expression of genes involved in hepatic gluconeogenesis, directly reducing overnight liver glucose production. Black cumin seeds improve insulin sensitivity at the cellular level. They protect pancreatic beta cells from programmed cell death, and they slow carbohydrate digestion through enzyme inhibition. Let me tell you about Dorothy. Dorothy was 76, a retired teacher from Ohio managing diabetes for 19 years. She was on 3 medications, including basal insulin. Her A1C was nearly 8%. Dorothy started consuming 1 teaspoon of ground black cumin seeds in water 45 minutes before bed. Within 12 weeks, her average fasting glucose was 118, and her A1C dropped below 7%. Her endocrinologist reduced her insulin twice over 6 months. This is what frustrates me most about the current diabetes care system. Dorothy spent thousands of dollars per year on medications for years. Nobody ever mentioned that black cumin seeds might improve her glucose control. Why? Because pharmaceutical companies do not profit from seeds. The information exists. The research is published. But it stays trapped in journals that most patients and even most doctors never read. Black cumin seeds are widely available at Indian, Middle Eastern, and health food stores, often labeled as kalonji or Nigella sativa. The typical dose is 2 to 3 grams per day, approximately 1/2 to 1 teaspoon. Grind them fresh if possible to release the active compounds. Mix with water or a small amount of honey to offset the bitter taste, and consume 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Important cautions. Black cumin seeds can lower blood pressure, so if you are on antihypertensive medications, monitor your blood pressure regularly. They can have mild blood-thinning effects, so if you are on anticoagulants, consult your doctor. And they can cause digestive upset in some people, so start with a smaller dose and gradually increase. But the research is clear. Black cumin seeds are the most powerful seed for overnight blood sugar control based on the breadth and depth of mechanisms, the magnitude of effects in clinical trials, and the specific impact on nocturnal glucose patterns. So let me connect the dots. The pharmaceutical industry has known about these seeds for decades. The research is published. The mechanisms are proven, but there is no patent on eating fenugreek or black cumin seeds before bed. So the information stays buried. Your doctor, who genuinely wants to help but has 15 minutes per appointment and continuing education sponsored by pharmaceutical companies, never mentions these options. You keep taking more medications, and nobody tells you about these interventions. But now you know. Now you can take action. Choose 1 or 2 seeds from this list. If you have severe dawn phenomenon, start with black cumin seeds or fenugreek. If you want something milder, start with pumpkin or flax seeds. Purchase high-quality seeds. For flax and black cumin seeds, grinding fresh is ideal. Start with a smaller dose to assess tolerance. Consume your chosen seeds 30 to 90 minutes before bed with water or almond milk. Do not combine with carbohydrates. Track your fasting blood glucose every morning. After 4 weeks, compare to your previous average. Be consistent. These seeds work through cumulative effects, not immediate action. You need daily consumption for weeks to see maximum benefits. Do not stop your medications without consulting your doctor. These are complementary interventions, not replacements. If this explained what your doctor never told you, hit that like button. Drop a comment telling me which seed you will try. Share this video with every senior managing diabetes. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Thank you for watching.